Take a look around you right now. You probably feel pretty confident that what you're seeing is reality. The room you're in, the sounds you hear, the sense that this is what the world actually looks like. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain has no direct access to reality at all. Everything you experience, colors, sounds, time, even your sense of self, is a best guess. A rough internal model your brain builds in real time using incomplete data, shortcuts, and assumptions that evolve to keep you alive, not to show you the truth. And most of the time, it works just well enough that you don't notice how wrong it is. Today we're going to explore why the human brain is actually terrible at understanding reality, why it constantly distorts the world, why it confidently fills in gaps with things that aren't there, and why even when we know our brains are lying, we still can't stop believing them. Because once you see how your mind really works, reality starts to feel a lot less solid than you thought. Your brain is a prediction machine. We like to think of the brain as a camera. Light comes in, sound comes in, the brain records it. That's not even close to how it works. Your brain is more like a prediction engine. At any given moment, it's constantly guessing what's about to happen next, what you're about to see, hear, or feel, and then quickly correcting itself if it's wrong. This is called predictive processing, and it's one of the most important ideas in modern neuroscience. Your senses don't send a full picture of the world to your brain. That would take too long and require too much energy. Instead, they send fragments, hints, noisy signals. Your brain takes those fragments and asks, based on my past experience, what is most likely happening right now? And then it fills in the rest. This is why you can read a sentence even if some letters are missing, why you hear words in noisy rooms, why you see faces in clouds. Your brain is not passively observing reality. It's actively inventing it moment by moment. And here's the problem. Predictions are efficient, but they're also wrong. A lot. You don't see the world, you see a simplified version. Let's talk about vision. You feel like you see everything in front of you in high resolution. But biologically, that's impossible. Only a tiny spot in the center of your vision, the fovea, actually sees in detail. Everything else is blurry, low resolution, and color poor. So, why doesn't the world look like a smudged mess? Because your brain cheats. It stitches together a convincing illusion by filling in details you expect to be there, ignoring information it deems unimportant, actively hiding gaps in your perception. There's a famous demonstration called change blindness. In experiments, people are shown two nearly identical images that alternate back and forth, with a brief flash in between. Even when something major changes, like a building disappearing or a person switching outfits, many people don't notice. Not because they're stupid, but because the brain assumes stability. If your brain had to fully reanalyze every detail every second, you'd be paralyzed. So, it assumes the world is mostly the same as it was a moment ago, until proven otherwise. Reality as you experience it is compressed, edited, curated, and what gets left out? A lot more than you think. Your brain lies about time. Now, let's talk about time. Time feels like a smooth, continuous flow, a steady march from past to present to future. But neurologically, time is a mess. Your brain does not experience the present moment in real time. There's a delay, usually around 100 to 200 milliseconds, while sensory data is processed. What you experience as now is actually the recent past, cleaned up and assembled into a coherent story. Even worse, your brain doesn't treat time consistently. When you're bored, time drags. When you're afraid, time slows down. When you're having fun, hours vanish. Nothing about this makes sense if time were a fixed external experience. What's actually happening is that your brain measures time by change, by how much information it processes. More novelty equals more perceived time. Less novelty equals time collapses. This is why childhood feels longer than adulthood. Not because time moved differently, but because everything was new. Your brain isn't tracking time like a clock. It's reconstructing it after the fact, and that reconstruction is wildly unreliable. Memory is not a recording. If your perception of the present is shaky, memory is even worse. We tend to think of memories as stored files, little videos you can replay. But memory doesn't work like storage. It works like storytelling. Every time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it from fragments, emotions, associations, bits of sensory detail, and suggestions from your current beliefs. That means memories change every time you recall them. This isn't speculation. It's been demonstrated repeatedly. In one famous study, people were shown footage of a car accident and then asked questions about it, simply changing the wording. How fast were the cars going when they hit versus when they smashed, changed how fast people remembered the cars going, and whether they remembered broken glass that never existed. Your brain doesn't just misremember details, it confidently invents them. And the scarier part, it feels exactly the same as a real memory. Your brain is wired for survival, not truth. Here's the core reason all of this happens. Evolution doesn't care about accuracy. It cares about survival. If misinterpreting reality slightly increases your chances of living long enough to reproduce, that distortion stays. This is why we see threats faster than neutral objects, remember negative experiences more vividly, overestimate our control over events, detect patterns even when none exist. From an evolutionary perspective, it's better to assume the rustle in the bushes is a predator and be wrong than assume it's nothing and get eaten. Your brain is biased toward false positives, and that bias still runs the show, even in the modern world. We see intention where there is randomness, meaning where there is noise, certainty where there is ambiguity. Reality is complicated. Your brain simplifies it, often brutally, even when we know we can't escape it. Here's the strangest part. Learning about these flaws doesn't fix them. You can know about optical illusions and still fall for them. You can understand cognitive biases and still be influenced by them. You can recognize memory's unreliability and still trust your own recollections. Because these processes happen below conscious awareness. You don't decide what you see. You don't choose what feels real. You experience the output, not the machinery. Your sense of reality is a user interface, not the source code. And like any interface, it hides complexity in favor of usability. So, what does all of this actually mean? It doesn't mean reality isn't real. It means your experience of it is filtered, edited, and shaped by a brain that evolved to keep you alive, not to reveal truth. Understanding this doesn't make you immune to illusion, but it does make you more humble, more curious, more skeptical of certainty, more aware that the world you experience is not the world as it is, but a story your brain is telling you. And the more you question that story, the closer you might get to understanding what's actually out there. If this video made you question something you thought was obvious, that's exactly what Curiospect is about. Exploring the strange, unsettling, fascinating gaps between what we think we know and how reality actually works. If you want more stories like this about science, psychology, history, and the mysteries that sit just beneath the surface, consider subscribing. And until next time, stay curious.